For so many suspected that the absence of Anita in today's package is due to a pregnancy. Is it true or false? Well, if you want to know more about it, you just have to sit tight. Let's do this together. Hello everyone, welcome back to another segment. In today's episode, let's dive into African lady who got married to Chinese husband based in China. For some fear farming, why some others appreciate, the blessing that comes from farming. Why some others, are feeling so reluctant even to go in the territory or in the zone where we have a lot of crops being planted. Wow. Which category hike you? Well, in today's package, we realize that our Chinese family, they are great, and great. When I say great farmer, you know what I mean? It's not, planting for consumption only. The plant also to sell and the plant also to help others, okay? So their own contribution in the society, I think, is adding positive effects in the community of the Chinese people. Where you can find out that in today's package, a Chinese grandmama and also a uncle with a Chinese husband came over to the farm to get, some harvesting of the legume crop, which is groundnut, to be harvested in a bountifully way. Where how could this be done? If you check in our recent video, there was a time, where our African lady headed in the harvesting, and so many persons were like, how are they going to harvest all these huge groundnut, all this plenty or quantity of groundnut? Are they going to, harvest these acres? And, many felt discouraged that they are not farmers, that they can't marry the Chinese people because of farming, and, many were just, dropping all their comments and making all their comment that they can do it, and that they need to eat a lot of apple for them to become strong to be able to do that. An important thing to take note of is Chinese grandmama is not a lazy type. She is a hardworking woman, focused and very smart, intelligent, who know how to guide her home and guide her home in strength and in purity, transparency, and also with love. Well, you found out that today's episode, that Chinese grandmama is out here to do the great harvest. Well, for those people that felt so much discouraged, you found out that in this time, a Chinese grandmama is not using her hand, to harvest this. They have to, use the mechanized system. If you check in the Chinese lifestyle, or should I say in their farming activities, most of the harvest being done is through the use of machine, because they usually plant a lot and a lot, they have large acres of land. Land itself is not something draggable in the Chinese environment. It's something that is fully abundant. And guess what? Not just land, but a fertilized land, and the land that even when you throw seeds on the floor, it yields a huge harvest. As the people are blessed, so also their land yield a lot of fruits and their land is blessed. Well, as you can see here, a Chinese husband, he's doing the harvesting with a Chinese uncle. He has been helping aiding a Chinese grandmama and also a Chinese grandpapa in whatever thing they're doing. Is always taking the lead and ensuring that the family is on a special track and on a right track. Yes, and someone who asks, does he not have family? And why is it that he spend most of his time, staying with a Chinese grandmama and also a Chinese grandpapa? Why is he so much interested in this particular family? Well, what I would like to tell you that is our Chinese uncle is such, a transparent soul. He's such a good soul. He's such a peaceful soul. And he's such a person that wants to see the success of others. If you're in that category, if you are just too blessed to have such person in your life, will you throw that person away? I guess your answer will be capital no. So that is the case of a Chinese uncle. It's just a transparent soul, it's a blessed soul, and he often wants to see the best in every human. I say yes, every human, because if it were to be, some other person, handling our Chinese husband, I guess what they will not be so patient enough, to put in the track or ensuring that those particular should I say things which he needs to do to be on a try. Instead, they will just make guests of him. They will laugh at him that he doesn't know what he's doing. Why is he acting this way? Why is he doing that? But he saw the beauty. There is something great in her Chinese husband. So he worked hand in hand, ensuring that he achieved a perfect goal. And you can see that the lifestyle and also the comportment and the activities of our Chinese husband has changed a lot through the assistance of our Chinese uncle. You can find that he stayed there in the farm harvesting, these legume crops for our Chinese grandmama. Have you ever an old one around you? Or do you have an old one around you and you're neglecting them? Yes, mostly your father or your mother. They're very important soul in which you can look into and try to help them. If you are not helping them, I think this video is calling your attention to it, just as you can see our African lady, a Chinese uncle, and also the husband doing to ensure that life goes on with our Chinese grandparents. The beauty of love comes in those little things that we do and that seems, unconsigned or unnoticed. But you found out that little thing that we do counts a lot, and in fact it triggers love, and it also counts a lot when we are talking about the love history. Well, you can see that her Chinese husband actually with her African lady doing things together. At the beginning it was just rosy, it was just love in the air. Same in all marriages. So the question we are going to ask is, what is that thing that breaks love, or what is that thing that causes disunity among a great couples, two lovable couples who have accepted their lives to be together? What is that thing? And one thing we should note is when there is misunderstanding. We often say when there's misunderstanding for some other person, it could be cheating in a relationship. Why some other person, it could be mistrust. So many things can, destroy a relationship or destroy bonding, and it make the other person like, wow, I don't really know that this is how you are, this is who you are. But it takes grace, to continue in that kind of activities, in that kind of bondness, and in that kind of lovable, environments. Sometimes, that is why it's very important why, after getting married, it's very important for couples, to know themselves. You can see that in this clip, you note that an African lady was just up and doing, helping her husband. Some person like, she doesn't do this to her husband, the husband doesn't do this. They're not showing any mutual, inter relationship or connection. There's no connection between them. But I tell you, there was or there is the connection within them or with them. Yes, it's just the family to understand themselves, which per se they have understood themselves right now. And we believe that so much things, if you check in our recent video, there was kind of improvements which had gone so much strong that our African lady is complying and also helping her husband out in so many activities. We all have different ways of expressing ourselves, mostly when it comes to a kind of when there's misunderstanding. Some other person, they want to break things. Some other person would just want to be quiet, and some other person who just want to exist in that environment, that is leave that environment instantly. Why some other person we just keep on shouting, talking. Why some other person we just keep on should I say crying. There are different means or different ways in which we express our anger or ourselves to a partner. Yes, for a Chinese husband, I think his own way of expressing himself is just to, stay afar, to look at them. If you check in our recent video, we saw him, he was acting strange, and some person like, is this actually love? Is this what we count for? Is this marriage? Are they truly married? And all of that, you can see that they were truly married, and even at
African lady, mother. African mama also came all the way from Uganda. She came over to, the Chinese environment to be, and also to see where her daughter is being married to. Mothers are usually taking the lead. You cannot see a mother, leave her daughter and don't know where her daughter is being married to. Even if it's under the rock or high the mountain, mom usually trace where their daughter is married to. That is why we shouldn't take our mom for granted. They deserve, the upper hand of our right hand. Yes, I say the upper hand of our right hand. Yes, they deserve it. They go mile, to help us to see and also to ensure that the relationship or the family in which their daughter, fall into is a secured family. Just as you can see, this is Anita's first day in the Chinese environment in our Chinese uncle, or should I say our Chinese husband home, and the mom, Chinese grandmama showing her needs, her home, her bed, and all of that. In the Chinese culture, the bed is usually prepared for them, before their arrival. So that is what our Chinese grandmama did. Even at her old age, she was able to design this bed in a very lovable manner. For some person, like, why is the Chinese people involving in red everywhere? Well, you can see that if you check mostly in a recent video, you note that Chinese people also often use red. Red signifies joy according to their tradition, culture and tradition. It signifies joy, happiness, peace, success. That is what red signifies in the Chinese culture and tradition. Well, for those asking if Anita is pregnant, how would you expect her, to start counting and saying, I am pregnant, so the whole world should come and see I am pregnant? Please, at the first trimester of pregnancy, it ought to be, kept silent and kept hidden, because we don't know who is who. As I'm even talking, I don't know who is who. So pregnancy is something that is being kept, secretly within the family or within the home until when, the pregnancy starts, popping out. By then, that pregnancy cannot be, hidden. That is why mostly it's been encouraged in the first trimester, very encouraged that pregnancy should be kept in secret. All right, that's just where I'll be wrapping up today's episode, and I hope you're enlightened on today's package. Please do stay tuned and stay blessed. And always remember, lovelies, stay cool for now. Bye for now.